Her mom was just a teenager when she was born, and her dad was not in the picture. In fact, when she was born with every reason to fail. She was born with every disadvantage. She grew up in poverty, mostly raised by her grandmother, who made her clothes out of potato sacks, and the other kids at school made fun of her. Before the age of 14, she'd been sexually molested 3 times by her uncle and a cousin and a family friend, but no one believed her. She became pregnant at age 14 and carried the baby until it was stillborn. After that, she got into even more trouble at school, started stealing money from her mom, and her mom sent her to live with her dad in Nashville. What would you expect the outcome would be if that was your story? Or maybe you know someone who has a story similar to that. They're raised in a really rough neighborhood and they have every disadvantage. A lot of these people end up just kind of falling in line with what their parents did, or they end up in prison or worse. Some of you may know that story is the story of none other than Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey. She has donated tens of millions of dollars to helping disadvantaged women and children and speaking out against child abuse. She has used all of her hurts and all of those horrible things that happened to her growing up, and she's turned them into something good. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. My name is Courtney Dailey, and I write Christian fiction books for Christians with real sin who need real redemption, because I believe everyone has a story, everyone has a mess up, and we can take all of our ugly stuff and use it for good. I was at a virtual conference in February, and one of the authors spoke, and she had a beautiful, beautiful message. She had been through a terrible abusive marriage with an alcoholic husband, and then she ended up writing this amazing book that touched so many lives and reached so many people because she got really vulnerable with her story and could help others. When she was speaking to us, the thing that really stuck with me that she said was, it's not the problem that we're all hurt. Everyone has hurts in life. Everyone. It doesn't matter what your hurt is, and everyone has their different hurts. You know, it could have been just the fact that you were bullied when you were in school, or maybe you were abused, maybe you were sexually abused or physically abused or emotionally abused. Maybe you went through divorce or abandonment. Maybe you've never met your real father. Everyone has hurts. She said it's not about the fact that we have hurts, it's that we waste our hurts, and we should never waste a hurt. What I want to propose to you today is that hurt people are the most equipped people. The things in your life that disqualify you from being perfect, all of your scratches and dents and mess ups, are the very things that qualify you to help someone else in your same situation. When I'm hurting, when I've got something that I'm dealing with, I don't want to call someone who has a perfect life or who's never been through anything. I want to call someone who's been through what I'm going through, someone who can understand me. And your hurts are the very things that qualify you to make a difference for good in this world. See, it's not about wallowing in it. It's not about telling your story over and over again and, oh, this defines me. This was such a hard time I went through in my life. No, it's about rising above and beyond your story and using it for something positive. Because that is where the real healing begins. You can't heal if you're focusing on your past and the bad things that have happened to you. Oprah's story, most people didn't even know about her stillborn son until 1990 when one of her family members leaked it to a reporter. She didn't make that her story. Instead, she used her hurts as a motivator to change the lives of others. What a beautiful thing. I want to look at someone in the Bible who also did this, who is very inspirational to me. I want to talk to you guys about Joseph. And maybe you have a lot of Bible knowledge and you know about Joseph. Maybe you don't. I'm going to give you the Cliff's Notes version, okay? Joseph's brothers hated him because he was the favorite. Their father catered to him. He made him a coat of many colors. He loved him so much. His brothers hated him. They sold him into slavery and told their dad that he was dead. Okay, some of us have had some hard things with family members, right? I mean, family hurts you, whether intentionally or unintentionally. Family hurts you. It's a thing that happens. How many of you can say that your brothers sold you into slavery? This is pretty bad. So after Joseph is sold into slavery, he ends up spending years in prison because he resisted a married woman, because he's living righteously. And eventually, through the years, he rises up and gains favor with the Pharaoh and gets a lot of power in Egypt. Through God's help, Joseph has interpreted a dream that prophesies a famine coming to the land. And because Joseph could interpret the dream, he ends up saving the nation from starving to death. The people he saves from starving to death include, that's right, his brothers who hated him and his father who still thinks he's dead. Okay, so let's take ourselves out of Joseph's shoes for a minute and let's put ourselves in the shoes of Joseph's brothers. Oops. Like, you lied and pretended that he was dead. You sold him into slavery, didn't think you'd ever see him again. And now he is this great authority in Egypt, and he could totally just have you beheaded with the snap of his fingers. And they have to go and bow before him. And this is the part of the story that I love, because Joseph could get really angry and nasty and lash out, but instead he cries and he says, "Look at me. I'm Joseph. I'm your brother. I'm the one that you sold into slavery." And it all worked out because since I was sold into slavery and I was able to interpret that dream, I have saved the land from famine, and I'm going to save you too. And I'm going to move you and all my other brothers and my dad all into the land of Goshen, and I'm going to look after you guys. Wow. That's grace. That is taking your hurt and using it for something good. Toward the end of the story, we see that Jacob, Joseph's father, dies. And Joseph's brothers all come to him again, and they're like, "Oh no," they fall on their faces. "We'll be your servants. Please forgive us," because they're afraid now that their father is dead. Okay, now he's going to retaliate. And this is one of my favorite verses in the entire Bible. This is what Joseph says. Genesis chapter 50, verses 19 and 20. "But Joseph said to them, 'Do not fear, for am I in the place of God? As for you, you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good.'" Do you know someone who has taken something horrible in their life? Or maybe you've done it, taken something horrible in your life and used it for good. We had some friends who lost a young child years ago, and then they started a grief recovery group for other people who had lost children. That's so hard. I can't even imagine doing something like that, but they used their hurt and they found a benefit to help others. Someone I know who went through a really horrible divorce, and she started this divorce group that met once a week for people who were struggling with their faith after divorce. I want to challenge each of you today to sit down and think about, or write it out. If you can write it out, it's even better. Write out a time in your life that was really hard, or something that has just burned you and cut you deep. And then brainstorm ways that you can use that hurt for something good. If there was something you heard today that helped you, that you think could help a friend, I encourage you, please, to share this message. Please like and subscribe. I love having you here. Visit me for more resources on authorcourtneydailey.com, and we'll see you next time.